Illegal immigrants are about to get more rights and more taxpayer-funded benefits in California under a crazy new proposal from California Democrats. This time, they want to help criminals who are guilty of felonies avoid deportation using taxpayer-funded lawyers. Insane. Coming up, we'll tell you all about the crazy proposal and what we're doing to fight back. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and California Democrats have shown that they are willing to prioritize two classes of people in our community over everyone else. The first class that they love to bend over backwards to take care of are criminals. They benefit criminals, they protect criminals, they coddle criminals over law-abiding members of society. The second group that they like to prioritize are illegal immigrants over tax-paying citizens. Well, now there's a proposal to combine the two of these fetishes from these Democrat politicians into one bad bill. They want to help illegal immigrants who are also felony criminals. They want to help these people stay in the U.S. This is just insane. I mean, think about this proposal as sanctuary state on steroids. You may know that the California state government enacted about 3 or 4 years ago this crazy proposal for sanctuary state. Now, a sanctuary state policy says that law enforcement agents, the sheriff, the police department, or state law enforcement, cannot in any way cooperate with federal immigration agents in handing over or alerting those agents to an illegal immigrant who's released into the community. Other states actually have a cooperative relationship between their law enforcement and federal immigration and customs enforcement, ICE. When an illegal immigrant is arrested for a crime or does time behind bars, prior to the release, the law enforcement agency will alert ICE and say, hey, if you want to come pick up this criminal, you can get the criminal and deport them. In California, the sanctuary state law prohibits any law enforcement agent from participating in that at the state or local level under penalty of disciplinary action, including termination. Okay, this is crazy. So then on top of that, California in 2016 started this taxpayer-funded giveaway program to give illegal immigrants free taxpayer-funded lawyers to fight deportation. What is so appalling about this program is that if you as a citizen are contacted by the IRS, for example, and they say, hey, we think you've violated civil law on our tax code and you owe us money and we're going to prosecute you. If you called up Gavin Newsom or any of your state legislators and said, hey, can you give me a free taxpayer-funded lawyer? They'd say, no way. You got to get your own private lawyer. Hey, what do you think? We're going to fund a lawyer to, at the state level to fight the federal government? You got yourself in trouble. Go fight your battles on your own dime. That's what these politicians would tell us. But for illegal immigrants since 2016, when the federal government knocks on their door saying, hey, we have a civil case against you for deportation because you're here illegally, those illegal immigrants can go to the state and say, I want a taxpayer-funded lawyer to fight the federal government. California is the only state in the country that allows this nonsense to happen. So this is just the groundwork for this latest proposal that I want to tell you about. It is Assembly Bill 2031, and it's introduced by Democrat Assembly member Reggie Jones Sawyer, a Democrat from Los Angeles. What he wants to do is amend that program I just told you about, where illegal immigrants get free taxpayer-funded lawyers to fight the federal government, to say that a exemption that was put into place in 2016 that said that the money can't be spent on an illegal immigrant if they also have a felony criminal record, Assembly Bill 2031 would eliminate that prohibition. So in other words, illegal immigrants who are also felony criminals would be able to get free lawyers to fight deportation. So not only are we telling law enforcement agents that they're supposed to shield criminals upon release from deportation, but now we're helping those criminals after they're released get free taxpayer-funded lawyers to fight the federal government to stay in our communities. And you know damn well these illegal immigrant criminals with felonies are going to reoffend. So here is News Nation covering this story. And notice how the liberal media likes to kind of skip over the whole foundation, the whole context that I just provided you about this entire giveaway in California for illegal immigrants. They skip right over that into, it's a discussion that's happening around the country. It's not happening around the country. This is extremism. Nobody's discussing this. Only Looney Tune leftists are proposing this.
Taxpayer-funded legal aid for illegal migrants has some Californians up in arms over concerns it could help violent criminals stay in the United States illegally. Tura has been following this one closely for us. For us, how are lawmakers making sense of this one?
There's a nationwide debate across the country on just how much services should states provide. Well, a new bill right now in California looks to give illegal migrants legal services for the first time right now.
No, that's not true. That is a lie. This reporter is giving you false information. The legal services are already being provided to illegal immigrants in California. Let me make it crystal clear. This has been since 2016 in the state budget. We have spent more than hundreds of millions of dollars on free taxpayer-funded lawyers for illegal immigrants. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. This is already state law. It is now, 8 years later that we've been doing this.
Now, California state law is now to be used for legal aid for illegal immigrants who are appealing a serious conviction, felony, or a violent crime. But AB 203 and Protections for All Immigrants Act.
Listen to what they're calling this proposal, the Representation, Equity, and Protections for All Immigrants Act. Call it what it is. Taxpayer-funded lawyers for felonies. Taxpayer-funded lawyers for felony criminals wanting to stay in our country and commit more crimes. Benefits for the criminals who are here illegally. Let's get the proper title, not the equity and protections and representation. Where's the representation for citizens? Where's the equity for crime victims? I mean, Assemblymember Reggie Sawyer Jackson, you are absolutely the worst person that can possibly serve in office. You can't find your ass from a hole in the wall. It is offensive to tell crime victims that you're going to help keep the felon who hurt their family or injured their status. You're going to help that felon stay in this country illegally. This is offensive and insane. And this comes at a time when California has a budget deficit, $78 billion. But oh my golly, we've got money for free, expensive lawyers for illegal immigrants who've committed felony crimes. And they put the term Representation, Equity, and Protections for All Immigrants Act. Your wokeism is absolutely nauseating. Call it what it is. You're bending over backwards, taking money from taxpayers, offending crime victims to the benefit of criminals here who've committed, and by the way, committed and been found guilty of committing felonies. This proposal is going to become law. I guarantee it. Because Democrats have never backed down from batshit crazy ideas like this. It always is proposed and people are like, oh, this is never going to happen. You think? You really think? Now, this morning, the bill was pulled from the Judiciary Committee because they were going to consider it this morning and then they pulled it quietly. That does not mean that it's gone. They're just noticing that there's a spike in interest. They pulled it, simmer things down, but it will come back. It'll come back in the dead of night, the dark of night. It'll be an amendment to the budget. Because how did they get the original money for illegal immigrants to get taxpayer-funded representation? They slid it in the budget late at night at 1 o'clock in the morning with no oversight, no real public discussion or debate. Believe me, this is going to become law if the trajectory of California politics continues as it is. And that's why at Reform California, we are sounding the alarm on crazy bills like this. And we actually brought this issue up about a year ago when it was originally proposed by Sawyer Jackson, and it was shelved at that point. But we said it was going to come back, and here it is. It's coming back time and time and time again. And so every time it rears its ugly head, we're going to be letting you know, sounding the alarm. But what we need to do next is we need to punish the legislators who are in favor of this crap. We need to get them on record. We need to ask them, are you for or against this bill? Yes or no on AB 2031. You don't need to sit there and say, I need to consider it. It should be a very easy call at this point. You're either for it or against it. Not a whole lot of research needs to go into this one. And if you can't say you're against it, then you are part of the problem. And you do need to be removed from office, because you shouldn't have a millisecond thought before you say this is absurd and you're against it. So I'm calling on every legislator. Tell us where you stand on AB 2031. I encourage you to call the legislators and find out where they stand on AB 2031. In this upcoming election, we need to make this one of the big issues in target seats. Remember, at Reform California, we are doing the hard work of trying to sound the alarm bell on crazy bills like this. Please chip in a contribution, because we are fully dependent on you, grassroots donors. The big donors are not going to fund this sort of truth-telling. They're all liberals. They are all establishment types. They don't like to rock the vote. We need your help to power the Reform California movement. We also need your help to flip seats. So remember, always check out our voter guide. We have target seats up and down the state of California where we've endorsed candidates and are urging you to help those candidates win and get across the finish line in November. Obviously, I'm running for the California State Assembly in District 75 myself. I can't wait to get up there to argue on the floor against crappy bills like this, offensive bills like this, and be your watchdog. So let's all work together. This is just one of many offensive bills, but probably near the top of my list of how crazy the legislature has gotten, that we need to bring to people's attention in this upcoming election. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.